Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to A Story Called Fighting. My name's Angelo, and today we are going to talk about something I don't think anyone saw coming, which was Dustin Poirier KOing Conor McGregor. I mean, he knocked him out fair and square. I gotta say, you know, I was actually making a video I was gonna release before the fight, but I decided not to, about how I felt Conor was already kind of in Dustin's head a little bit, even without really trying to be in his head. Dustin's body language before the fight was just very bad and just very fidgety, very uncomposed and ungrounded. It was very all over the place. And still, even then, I mean, he still managed to beat Conor. And, you know, I gotta say, noticing Conor coming into this fight, it's been interesting to see his shift in terms of personality. Like, he's much nicer now. He's like almost kind, even. Like, he's almost like it's almost like a little too respectful, I feel like I mean, he's literally more respectful to his opponents now than like most fighters are, which is interesting because he was the most disrespectful guy to his opponents for a long time. But we saw that with the Cerrone fight. Even then, you could kind of see a bit of an edge. Like, maybe he wanted to say something, but he kind of held it back. And at one point, I even think he said, like, I can read Donald like a coloring book, or something like that, or like a kid's book. I guess you can't read a coloring book, so that wouldn't make sense. But you know, you could see he was like being much kinder and much nicer. A lot of people thought it was maybe like a tactic to maybe get Donald to come forward and you know, maybe not, because when you like someone, it is subconsciously things will come out that will, maybe you won't hit them as hard at certain points, maybe you won't take them as seriously at certain points. But either way, I mean, he did beat Donald pretty definitively. But you know, the second fight, I think it was very obvious to people that this isn't really a shtick or anything he's doing, or like a new tactic. Like, he actually is being very kind, and there's a good chance this maybe was Conor McGregor to some extent the whole time. He just wasn't showing it. I don't think so. I think maybe this is a side of him, but now it's almost kind of become what seems to be almost all of him in a sense. Like, it's much more pervasive throughout his personality, which is interesting. But I gotta say, I didn't see the same fire. I didn't see the same passion. I didn't see the same desire to win. He just kind of seems like he's there as if it's like a really fun, like, passion hobby. He doesn't seem like he's there to really win again. That's just kind of what I'm taking from it. Just by the way he was in the cage, he wasn't going for it at certain times when he could. Like, when Dustin was hurt, he wasn't kind of on him. He was giving him, you know, quite a bit of space. I felt his intentions weren't as like raw and kind of vicious as they can be. But either way, he did get beat. He did land quite a few on Dustin in the beginning and was, you know, was tagging him quite a bit. But Dustin started adjusting and started throwing leg kicks at Conor's lead leg. And this was like a big concern. This was what a lot of people thought, you know, could be used against Conor to, you know, be victorious over him. And this is the one thing he has had a little bit of trouble with in the past, right? And I thought, you know, just being someone who's as smart as Conor is probably going to have solutions for things, especially, you know, a guy with a fight IQ like him. He's going to be able to see what an opponent is going to be coming with. He even said, I was watching the post-fight interview, he even said Thiago Alves was in Dustin Poirier's corner, and Thiago Alves is known for vicious kicks. And so he knew exactly what was coming, which was leg kicks. But yet he still seemed to not have the proper solution for the kicks, and ended up taking, I mean, it looked like he took 4 or 5 before he really tried to do anything about it. And by that time, it's too late. The muscle, the nerve, it's already damaged by that point. I mean, you can take maybe 1 or 2 hard ones. After 2, real damage starts to take place. Even the second one can cause real damage. Look at Eddie Alvarez in his ONE FC debut. 1 leg kick and his leg was done and he could barely get up. He ended up winning because his opponent was ignorant and followed him to the ground, and Eddie Alvarez ended up actually submitting him. But all his opponent had to do would just be like, hey, stand up, and he couldn't have stood up and he would have won. But his opponent was kind of ignorant in that sense. But that's how vicious leg kicks can be. You don't mess around with it. You don't take 4 or 5 before you do anything about it. It's too late by that time usually. Look at what happened to Anthony Smith when he fought Alexander Rakic. 2 leg kicks. That was it. Couldn't walk for the next week, he said. So you don't mess around with that like Conor did. And he paid for it dearly. But yeah, Dustin started kicking his calf at the right time. For those of you who don't know, that's called a calf kick. So that's where you kick not obviously where the, normally where you kick would be the thigh. You kick about 6 to 8 inches lower, right about the high to mid calf, and it wreaks havoc on the body. The body just can't take it. The ligaments and tendons and nerves in there, they just can't take it. There's no real meat to absorb it. It's a very tender part of the body, and it cannot take a lot of damage. And when it gets damaged, it messes up the whole leg, basically messes up your whole base. So he started catching Conor with this right when Conor started to come in. And by the third or fourth one, I mean, you could really see like it was taking a toll on Conor. It was messing up his timing. Conor is a fighter that's based off a lot of timing, precision, speed. And when you're a fighter that relies on those things and you don't have your base, you can't do any of those things. So you essentially become a non-efficient, unsuccessful fighter who cannot employ his game plan anywhere near to the best of his ability. And that's exactly what Dustin Poirier did. He also started countering Conor a little bit, which was pretty impressive. You could see Conor was desperate for his shots at a certain point, but it looked like he was just too lackadaisical. Like he let certain situations and things and positions slide that he normally wouldn't have. I feel like a Conor McGregor, when he fought Eddie Alvarez when he was at the peak of his career, I believe, I don't think he would have I don't think he would have taken 4 or 5 leg kicks like that. I think he would have had an answer or would have checked him. He would have figured it out, but it just, I don't know. Something just seemed off. I have a feeling this might be the last. I mean, I hate to say this because Conor really is my favorite fighter of all time. I have a feeling we may never see the same Conor that we saw back in 2018. I have a feeling because it's just the way he was talking after his post-fight interview about, just going to be with his kids, and he wasn't as affected as he normally is by this loss. It hurt, but it's he'll be okay. He'll go back and fix it and compete. It didn't. When he lost to Nate Diaz, like the only thing on his mind was like, I'm going to come back. I'm going to train. I'm going to get better. I will get this back. Those weren't his words after. It seemed like coming back was something he wanted to do, but maybe, he's got other things he can do first. So I feel like the Conor McGregor of old is potentially gone, and we may never see that one again, which is unfortunate. But there's a lot of footage out there of that Conor, and we can always enjoy that. But Dustin just came with a beautiful game plan, and Conor didn't have an answer to it and was too lackadaisical. And when he tried to even do anything, he tried to do almost like a pseudo check, where instead of actually lifting your leg, you just kind of turn your heel out, which does point the shin outwards. But the kick can still get around that and hit the calf on the side, which is what happened. So when a fighter who relies heavily on, like I said, speed, timing, athleticism, movement, when you have a fighter like that and you take out their base, that all goes away. It all gets taken from them, gets sucked away from them. And you have a fighter who is kind of useless in a sense. And, we saw Conor, he really couldn't move when he was sitting there taking all those shots. At first I was like, what are you doing? Like, move, what are you doing? You realize he couldn't move. Like it hurt that bad to put, pressure on his leg. You saw after he was saying my calf and he was limping around. He actually walked out of the arena after the fight with a one-armed crutch, a crutch on one arm. So he really couldn't move. And that led to his downfall. I still do think Conor's a much better fighter though. And I think if they have a rematch, I do think Conor will have an answer. But yeah, I don't really know if Conor's going to return. I think he could be champion again. I don't think there's like a 2018 Conor. I don't think there's anyone that beats him currently. Could he get back to that 2018 Conor with that level of drive and motivation and purpose? I don't know. I personally don't think so. I think this might be it for him. I think he's got too much going on. He's got a whiskey business that apparently could be sold for about $1 billion, which is insane. He's got McGregor Fast, which is his fitness company that's doing well, I hear. He's got a lot of stuff going on. He's buying $1 million watches and yachts. He even said after, in the post-fight press conference, like, I'm going to hang out with my family on the yacht. It's like, what are you doing? Like, get back to training. Like, there's just a difference in mindset that happens, I feel, when you have that type of security, that type of money, and that type of kind of freedom in the sense in the world. it changes things, and it also reveals who a fighter really is. It reveals whether they really wanted to be a champion and they really wanted to prove themselves in the arena, or if they just wanted the security, a little bit of fame, the recognition. Conor is the most famous combat sports athlete, I would say, of all time, actually. So he got fame and money probably beyond his wildest dreams. And so his desire to be the best and be a champ, I don't think is really there anymore. I don't think it's really there anymore. I think it was there at one point, but I think after having 3 kids, having several successful businesses, I think his focuses have changed. So, I mean, I could be wrong. He could come back and just smoke everyone. It'll be interesting. But Dustin did a good job tonight. He earned that victory. He had a better strategy. The fighter who was not as skilled, not as athletic, not as strong, not as fast, beat the fighter that was by having a better strategy and outsmarting him. That's what happens. That's the game of fighting. So next video is probably going to be about Dan Hooker and Michael Chandler, which was a even crazier fight. Well, kind of crazy in the sense that, like, just so one-sided. And I mean, it's like Dan didn't even start fighting, but that's going to be in the next video. So I hope you liked it. You can like and subscribe if you liked it. If you want to see more content like this, let me know in the comment section. Let me know what you guys think of Conor getting knocked out. I did not see that coming. I don't think anyone did. So this is crazy. And Dustin's going to be fighting for the belt next, I'm sure. So my name's Angelo. This is A Story Called Fighting. And until next time.